Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you have come back, thank you so much for coming back. So today's video is all about micro weddings. So I got married in this year, oh no, last year actually, sorry, September 2020, and we had the best day ever. Originally it was going to be planned for September 2020, but because of the coronavirus we put it off and moved it, and lots of different things happened. In the end, we ended up coming back to our original idea, which was a DIY home wedding that cost a lot less than what we originally anticipated and had so much more love. One thing we didn't ever anticipate doing was having such little numbers. We have got, well, I've got a really big family, Dale not so much, but together collectively we've got a lot of people that we would have loved at our wedding. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. With coronavirus, weddings got very quickly slashed to 30 people, and we were really lucky because we just got in on the weekend where just before they got slashed to 15 people, so we were super lucky we were able to have 30. Honestly, if you'd have said to me a couple of years ago that your wedding is going to consist of 30 people, I would have laughed in your face. I'd have said, no way, not a chance. I know too many people. I love too many people. I want a really big wedding. Obviously, that was not the case. And honestly, I would have not have done it any differently. I absolutely loved it. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons as to why I think that you should do a micro wedding. Okay, so reason number 1 is the intimacy. I've never felt so much love in that small room all of my life. The intimacy is incredible. You really feel like you get to speak to every single one of your guests, whereas when I've spoken to friends who have had large weddings before, they have said of how little they spoke to their guests and how guilty they felt at the end of the day, knowing that they hadn't spent much time with their guests. That is not the case of a micro wedding. You can speak to absolutely every single person, and in depth too. It makes them feel loved, you feel loved, and it really just gives a good vibe to the room. Every person who went to my wedding, my bridesmaids in particular, still go on about it, how much love and intimacy there was. The room just felt electric. It was full of people who wanted to be there, people who we wanted to be there, and it just felt incredible. Please don't get me wrong, there is a lot of more people I would have loved at our wedding. Like, there were some people that missed out that I truly love and hold very close to my heart. So this isn't a I'm so glad that they weren't there kind of thing. Not at all. This is more of just the people who were there, and the day that it was perfect. So number 2, I feel like with a micro wedding you can get way more venue choice. If there's something you've been looking at that is possibly going to be too small for your guests, or so maybe you want to do something a bit more DIY like we did. We had a marquee up in my grandparents' garden. We would not have been able to do it if we would have had 100+ guests. It just logistically would not have worked. So when you have smaller numbers in a wedding, it does give you way more freedom to choose whatever venue you really want. You can also choose venues like your local pub, your parents' garden, your garden. You're saving on cost, first of all. It's also got that little layer of personalization to it, and it kind of brings back, for me, when I was standing in that field on my wedding day, it brought back so many memories of me standing in that field as a child. Okay, number 3, when you have smaller numbers, you are way more likely to do everything DIY, in turn saving money. So we did pretty much every single thing DIY. The only thing that we got in from suppliers was the marquee and the food. The rest of it we all did ourselves, and it meant that we could actually do that because, you know, if we're going to have 150 guests, which was going to be our original number, it would have been a lot harder to do personalised stickers, personalised name places, personalised anything. It would have been a lot more money and a lot more work and time if you had 150 people as opposed to 30. So when you have smaller numbers, you can definitely do things a lot more DIY and customize things and make them feel a little bit more special. Okay, number 4, kind of going on from the last one, but invitations. You can do your invitations way more DIY because you have less of them. Don't get me wrong, you're more than welcome to go and do 150 invitations or 200 invitations, all handmade. But it does get very time consuming. Trust me, I did 30. By the end of it, I was shattered and I was ready for my bed. So when you have smaller numbers, you can also do your invitations DIY too. Okay, and number 5, which is the leading theme throughout this whole video, is how much money you really save. And let me tell you, you save a lot. We halved our budget, we had everything we honestly wanted. Because we had less people there, we were able to spend a little bit more money on the things that we really wanted to do. So for example, I love wine. I love Whispering Angel Rosé. It's my favourite wine to drink in the summer, but it's very expensive. I could do that because I only had 30 guests. If I had over 150, I would have really struggled to afford that. To be honest, I wouldn't have been able to do it. It would have been far too expensive. So it's the little things like that that make a difference with money. You save money in your invites because you're not sending half as many. You save money on your canapes because you're not feeding as many people. You save money on your overall meal. And also, you can have the meal that you want. When we first went into our original venue and chose our menus, they were beautiful, do not get me wrong. We chose some stunning food and it was lovely. We're real foodies. However, we walked away and we thought, oh, it's just a bit posh for us. And it's not for everyone, I'm not saying that, but you know, the canapes with the bellinis and stuff like that, it's all lovely, but it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was that guests were getting fed, we were getting fed. In the end, our canapes ended up being packets of crisps. And now to some people that might seem way too casual, but for us it was perfect. We both love crisps. I mean, everybody does. They were cheap, they were cheerful, they were easy. Everybody loved it. When you get back from a wedding ceremony, you're starving. I always hate getting back from a wedding ceremony when I'm just like, I'm so hungry. Straight away, the packets of crisps were offered. Some people had 2-3 packets each and they loved it. And everybody commented and said, oh, that is such a good idea. That's just filled such a hole, which is exactly what we wanted. So they were our canapes. They cost us about £20 for everybody and everybody loved them. You can just save money on everything. I've said this in a previous video, but to be completely transparent, we were looking at about £20,000, if not more, for the whole day. We ended up halving it to around £10,000. So, and like I said, we had everything we really wanted. We didn't have to have the nice wine. We could have still saved ourselves a lot more, but because we were looking at a £10,000 saving, we were like, right, well, let's try and still make this really nice, but just on a budget. So coming back to saving money and making your own invitations, which is something I touched on in the video, I honestly cannot recommend trying to make your own invitations yourself. So I've got a design background, but honestly, even if you haven't and you're really trying to do things on a budget, try this. So I'm actually going to do a separate video for this, but the main thing that you need to know is Canva. And I've spoken about this before, it's my worst kept secret. Canva, Canva, Canva. If you want to design anything, get yourselves on Canva. And like I say, I'm going to do a full tutorial on this, but in a nutshell, I decided on the size that I wanted my invitations. I made them on Canva, designed them all. I got them printed on Hello Print. They were all, I think overall our whole invitations cost us well under £50. Ordered some tracing paper from Amazon and just literally got a bit of string. I then ordered a fake eucalyptus thing and I will show you what they look like on the screen now. But honestly, it was so cheap. Everybody commented on how lovely they were. They were really handmade. They cost us next to nothing and yeah, it just saved us a lot of money. So if you are looking to save money for your wedding, especially if you're going micro, 100% look at doing your invitations yourself. Okay, my next tip and bit of advice in planning a micro wedding is beg, borrow and steal. I've spoken about this in a blog post before, but we basically decided that because of the volume of alcohol that we had, we would put it all into a booze bath. Saw the idea on Pinterest, loved it. I found a bath on Facebook Marketplace for £50, painted it, filled it with all the booze and loads of ice, and it was just such a focal point. But yeah, beg, borrow and steal. In the end, we ended up borrowing our bar from a friend. They had that just sitting in their garage. We ended up borrowing lighting from a friend, all our festoon lighting, a friend had that. We borrowed our fire pit from a friend. We borrowed our cake stand from a friend. We borrowed it all and we just gave it all back with a thank you, obviously. But everybody was really happy to help. They felt like they had a part in the wedding and we saved ourselves an absolute fortune on renting and hiring stuff. So my absolute go-to saying of a micro wedding at the minute is beg, borrow and steal, but don't steal, but you know what I mean. The one thing I will say about a micro wedding, and I said this in my blog post, it is not for the faint-hearted. And what I mean by that is it's hard work. You're doing everything yourself. Everything's up here, and as much as everybody helps and they're amazing, it is generally quite a tough task. Like, just to give you a little example, I was still hoovering the floor at 9:30 at night the night before my wedding. Everyone was ringing me saying, what are you doing? Hurry up, get home, we've got champagne for you, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, no, I need to do it. And I did it and it was fine. But all I'm saying is, yeah, the night before our wedding, me and my husband were cutting up fruit for the pims that didn't even get eaten, can I say. We were also, you know, like I say, running around with a hoover. We were just doing all the last minute touches. So if you are not up for doing the DIY process and you want someone to do it for you, I would suggest that you still go to a venue for that. Because, you know, it's all on your shoulders. Like, it is all on your shoulders, and the night before you're thinking, oh, did I turn the fridges on? Oh, did I put the ice on? Oh, did I cut the fruit up for the Pims? Just things like that. It does make you think. So if you're doing a micro wedding and you're doing it DIY, just be warned, it does mess with your head a little bit. Okay, so on my Instagram I asked if anybody had any questions for me to do with the wedding, so I thought I would answer them here. Question number 1 was, how did you approach the conversation with those who didn't make the invite list? I've spoken about this in a previous video and it got me emotional then. I'm not so emotional now, but it was really, really, really hard. We did fall out with a couple of people. Not falling out, okay, I wouldn't say we fell out, but you know, there's some relationships there that probably haven't gone back to normal as they should have done. Some people got really offended. The best advice I can give you is that you have to stick to your guns. Like, if you know you don't want that person there, that actually wasn't the case for us at all. It was more of the case of our numbers. But if it is a case of you know you don't want that person there, you have to stick by your guns. We obviously were in Corona time, so we called everybody. I would have gone and seen everybody personally, but we couldn't. So we called everybody and there were some awkward conversations, I'm not gonna lie. Some people were upset, some people understood. Majority of people understood. I'd say like 90% of people understood. Some people took it really personally. Yeah, it's really difficult. It is going to be difficult. You just have to kind of ride it out. But my best advice is just to stick to your guns and don't go back on decisions, which is what I did a couple of times. I felt really guilty, so I'd go back on a decision and be like, oh my god, no, actually we can make it work. And then I'd have to go back because I knew I couldn't. So yeah, stick to your guns. If you know it's the right decision, stick to it, and good luck. Question number 2 is, how did you deal with guests for a micro wedding where some people were upset? So I've just touched on this one. Yes, some people were upset. Most people understood completely. Some people didn't, and it's really hard. But going back to my previous question, you just have to stick to your guns, and you know what's right in your heart of hearts. You know who your closest people are, and you just have to stick with it. Next question is, what is worth putting the effort into DIYing? I would say that the main thing putting in your effort DIYing are the tables. I think the tables make such a difference when you walk in. Every wedding I've been to, that little touch of personalisation makes a real difference. So the one thing we did was table favours, and there was no sugared almonds around, don't worry. I was really unsure of doing table favours. I felt like they were a little bit old-fashioned, but we actually stuck with the alcohol route. We basically got little labels, I'll put a picture up here, stamped in people's names and then tagged them to a little bottle of gin. People were like, oh, that is so lovely, and that got kind of like one of the most comments. I'd say put a lot of effort into your tables and put a lot of effort into the first things that people see. So if you're doing a DIY at home wedding, we made sure there was lovely festoon lights going down the main path, and everybody said it felt like a festival and things like that. So yeah, the main thing I'd say is put your effort into the tables and make sure there's a little bit of personalisation on there, and the first thing that people see as they walk in. Okay, somebody said, what made you choose a micro style wedding and what was important for you? So what made us choose it was basically coronavirus. We had to choose between a smaller wedding or waiting for a bigger wedding. We personally didn't feel like things were going to get better by 2021, and I kind of think, I hate to say it, I kind of think we made the right decision, because you know we would have now been a couple of months to our new wedding date, which was April 2021, and to be honest I don't know if it would have been even worse than what we had. So that's what made us choose it. But honestly, if I could go back, I would choose it all over again every single time. It was so special. The intimacy and the love that was in that room was unbelievable. Like, you could feel it. It was electric. Every single person said how electric the love felt. So yeah, we chose it because of coronavirus, because we didn't really have a choice, but I would choose it 1,000 times over after experiencing it. Okay, the next question is, I remember you mentioning something about a party in the summer. Are you still doing that? Yes, we are, hopefully, all being well. We did put a little bit of budget aside to make sure that the people who weren't there still get to experience our wedding day. We're really not sure when we're going to do it. We're really not sure what we're going to do. Like, to be honest, it's been put to the back of my mind completely. But we are going to do it, hopefully. Yeah, we are going to hopefully have a party. I think everybody will be having a party. Sorry, the postman turned up and the dog didn't like it. Yes, so we are definitely going to be doing another party. I think everybody will be having a party this year anyway, regardless of whether you got married or not. But yeah, we are going to do one so that everybody can still celebrate with us. Okay, that pretty much wraps up all the questions, everything I can tell you about my DIY micro wedding and why I think you should do it. If you are going into 2021 uncertain of your wedding and you're really not sure what the future holds for your wedding this year, please take it from somebody who was petrified of having a smaller wedding, thinking that it was going to be rubbish. It was amazing. You could honestly get married in the middle of the dump and it would be incredible, trust me. So please enjoy your day. Don't worry about it. Do not sweat the small stuff. You will love it regardless, and yeah, just enjoy yourself. And I hope you've taken some tips from this YouTube video. I have actually done a blog post on all of this. It does explain the DIY details and what we did in a little bit more detail. We'll link that below, so please go and check that out. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did. Please comment, let me know if you're thinking about doing a micro wedding. If there's anything I can help you with, please go ahead and ask. And most importantly, please subscribe. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.